Insane.
Thank you very much. Wow.
Trump just pulled off probably one of the greatest comebacks of all time, and probably for sure one of the greatest political comebacks we have ever seen. As I sit here, shoot this video early morning Wednesday, forget all the politics, forget all the noise, forget all the news, forget all the opinions, everything. We are living through one of the craziest times. We're gonna look back and say, all of us, America has spoken, whether you like it, don't like it, it doesn't matter. Not only did Trump win, it looks like the House and Senate all was given back to the Republicans. Because there's a promise they made that they're gonna make America great again, right? They're gonna bring down the cost of gas, of groceries, right? They're gonna help inflation. They're gonna help make housing affordable. They're gonna, end wars, cut the spending. There's gonna be all these things they propose. Are they really gonna be able to make this happen? Are they gonna be able to get in there and get to work from day one? I think a lot of people that voted for Trump did not really just vote for Trump. I think they voted for the team around him, of the ability of what they can do. Let's dive in today to see some of those things that are proposed they're gonna do, some of the things that are gonna help the economy, maybe not help the economy, but more importantly, while you're here on this channel, what they're gonna do to help housing and how they can help you get into the first time home, help you refinance, help you maybe build that ADU. Maybe they're gonna help you buy an investment property. Maybe they're gonna help incentivize people that are sitting on vacant homes, the millions and millions of vacant homes that are sitting there that don't wanna rent them, that aren't incentivized to sell them. And maybe there's a way that they could do that. Maybe they're not even proposing it. Maybe I have a proposal for you, Donald Trump, and your administration. If Trump can surround himself with the right people when it comes to all the stuff, we can make major change. But here today, I just want to talk about how we can affect housing, how some of the things that he might change that are just in the general economy could help or hurt housing. And also at the end of the day, what I really get asked every day is, Kenny, when are those rates gonna come down? When is it actually going to come down? Because they cut interest rates. They're supposed to cut them today. But interest rates went up, so what in the world's going on? And hopefully how we can make all this come together, make sense, and move on from here. Hey, if we never met, my name is Kenny Simpson. I focus on 1 to 4 unit financing. That means I help people buy a 1 to 4 unit property, whether it's your primary residence, maybe it's a 2 unit primary residence, or maybe it's an investment property. I've been doing this for over 20 years. I've helped over 5,000 clients, funded $1 billion of loans. And yes, I make these videos because I want to help you, the consumer. I want to help you, the audience that's watching us. Why? Because I want to educate you on the process, the good, the bad, the ugly. Also, I hope to empower you and your family to get out there, whether you're buying a house, buying a rental property, because I truly believe that real estate has changed my life, and I think it could change your life. So now we know who's elected, okay? Now we can move on from the what ifs and this and that, because honestly, we're all sick of it, guys. So what is the impact? What does the future look like for housing, right? Some of the economy based around real estate. And also, let's dive into some of the information that I think is going to change immediately, some of the stuff that needs to change, and how it could potentially change for the better or for worse. So let's talk about one of the things that really has been bothering all of us, and it's come way down. But some of the stuff, you're like, if inflation's come down, I'm living in California. Gas prices are insane. Insurance prices are insane. Electrical, insane. The cost of food, insane. The cost to build or fix something, insane. Do I need to keep going on, folks? No, because we're all living in it. Whether you're in California or another state, you're feeling it. You go out to eat dinner, you're like, my gosh, I thought a burrito used to cost $5. How does it cost $10 to $15? This is insane. So first thing I want to talk about is inflation. How is inflation impacting housing? Well, folks, it really is, because the cost of lumber, the cost of gas, the cost of transport, the cost to move things, the cost to fix things, it is affecting you whether you like it or not. Let me give you an example. Insurance has gone up 20, 30% year over year. That's car insurance. That's housing insurance. Why? Well, let's take a look. This year, we've had 2 major hurricanes that hit obviously Florida. We've also had flooding. We've also had fires. We've had tornadoes. We've had it all. And what's happening is because the cost to just, whether it's wages, whether it's the cost of material, to buy the material, whatever it is, the cost has gone up. So insurance companies, since the beginning of the pandemic, have realized the cost to fix that repair in a house or the car has gone up 30%. So guess what, folks? They are passing that on to you and I, right? So one of the things that's really hurting the cost here is the cost of energy to transport that wood, to transport the food, right? The gallon of milk. How's the gallon of milk so much? Because to get the gallon of milk from the farm to the grocery store, it's costing more, whether it's labor, whether it's gas, things like that. So how do we fix inflation? Well, we brought inflation down by raising rates, and the feds will continue to do that and watch that. But really, to get inflation down at the gas pump and at, food and things like that, one of the things that this administration can do and talked about is drill, baby, drill. That means we need to bring down the cost of oil, the energy, which would bring down the cost of the other stuff. The second biggest thing that is killing us in housing and the economy is rates. Let's go through it. The rate on your credit card, the rate on your mortgage, the rate when you buy a house, the rate for student loans, the rate for a business loan, the rate that for commercial loans, the rate that the government's paying on their debt. It is choking us. And yes, historically, when you look at these mortgage rates, you're like, they're not that bad. And I agree with you. But the problem is when you came off of low rates, not just from 2020 and 2021 and 2022, but there are lower rates before that. We were living in a low rate environment for a long time, which is good and also which is bad, because when everything's locked in on low debt and rates are going to go back up, and that includes business debt, that includes your government debt that you and I have to pay for. And I said your government debt because at the end of the day, we're responsible as the American people to pay back that debt. So that interest rate, if that doubles from where we're at, that means the interest payment that's already over $1 trillion could go to $2 trillion. So we need to get mortgage rates down. That would help with, like I mentioned, all the above. Anything having to do, if you take out debt on something, you are paying higher interest rates today than you did before. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't work. And when you've locked everybody on these crazy low rates, you're killing the housing because people are locked in on 1%, 2%, and 3% mortgages and 4. They're not moving. They're not selling. They're not even selling their property and they buy another one. They're just renting it out. So it's killing us. The 6 million people that could refi and lower their payments and help the affordability in their household, they can't do that. The people that want to go out and get a student loan or buy furniture on debt or buy a wedding ring on debt, right? Or need to use their credit card for something or start a business, that is all impacting us. So we need to get mortgage rates down. And one of the big factors why mortgage rates stay up is number one, if you've been watching my channel, the data is just bullshit. We need to stop delivering bad data, bad jobs reports. I mean, let's be honest, out of the last 21 job reports over the last 21 months, 15 of them have been utter garbage. So if I take a calculator and I simply go 15 divided by 21, that is a 71% average that they've been off. Last year alone, there was over 800,000 jobs that they misquoted. So what do we need? Number one, we need to get good data. So Trump, can you please stop allowing people to deliver bullshit data and deliver the real facts so we can get real rates and quit hurting people? The second thing we can do to get down these interest rates is the government. They're spending money they keep hiring people that we can't afford. They employ 25 million people. And when you look at it, they're propping the economy up. And when they prop the economy up, we get these job prints. And when you get these job prints or the GDP's this or that, it's hurting interest rates. So if the economy was left alone to the private sector, to how you and I are spending money actually doing things without the government manipulation, I think rates would be lower, which would help all of us. And I know there's a lot of first-time home buyers that want to get in and buy a house that are renting or want to be a part of that American dream and have a house that maybe one day they own, that they can grow equity or pay off and have free and clear to use or tap into. We need to make that more available for people that want it. The third biggest thing I want to go over is housing affordability. So housing affordability is terrible right now. Why? Number one is because of interest rates. Number two, because housing has gone up so much. And number three, there is no housing available. People are not listing their homes. You don't want to know why? Because it makes no sense for them to move. They're locked in on a low rate, which is really a low payment, and they don't want to go buy that other house. There's people that are sitting on so many vacant properties, yes, that could sell or rent them, and they're not. Why? Because they're not incentivized. Why do they want to sell it, they have to pay capital gains, right? So why not bump up the capital gains? You have places like California where $500,000, let's be honest, folks, people making $500,000, there's people that are going to make $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, $4 million in gains. Let's give them a little break, but they got to sell that home to a first-time home buyer. They got to sell that home to somebody that's going to benefit, right? Why not say, hey, well, if you rent out your house, we'll give you incentive, the government, because you're just sitting on a vacant house and you don't want to rent it out, maybe because the rent control or the policies or the headaches or the taxes, you don't want to deal with it. But if you incentivize people to rent those vacant houses out or sell those vacant houses, that would produce inventory. That would help with affordability, right? There's 4.5 million vacancies of apartments units in the country right now that are not being rented for many, many reasons. Why don't we incentivize those people instead of trying to, hey, let's go build stuff. We can do stuff now. So I think the government needs to look at the low hanging fruit when it comes to affordability and housing and renters and stuff. It's sitting in front of our face. Let's think a little bit differently. Let's get some extra trends why not get a mastermind, get a panel together of real estate experts that bring all types of ideas and stuff, throw them on the table and see what could work for the American people, what can help out. The other thing for home affordability is this simple thing. You have to incentivize people at the federal, the local, the state. I keep saying this. Incentivize those people that buy and flip homes and say, go buy and flip those homes, but you got to sell them to a first-time home buyer. We'll give you a break. Why not? Incentivize those builders and say, hey, we're going to be partners with you. We're going to give you a tax break on, we're going to cut the red tape. We're going to push you to that permit process. We're going to ease the fees on you. We're going to give you, if you rent out your apartment building to all affordable housing, we'll give you no taxes. Incentivize builders. If you incentivize them, they will come, they will build. We need the government to be partners with private sector on helping. Let's get some of these dilapidated shitty homes that are sitting out there that cannot be rented, that cannot be for sale, and incentivize those flippers that are so good in this country that can get out there, buy the homes, flip them. They get a little bit of profit. The first time home buyers win. Why not do things like that? Huh? Hello. Let's use our brains here, folks. The mortgage market is healthy, but look, so with Trump in there, I know that we'll have less regulation, which is good for mortgages, right? We need the private sector. That means the secondary market, the ones that are doing the self-employed loans, the 12-month bank statements, the non-GM loans, the DSCRs. We need they need to feel comfortable. They need to feel like they're not going to get over-regulated. They're not going to get, crucified. We need them to be helping. No, we don't need to go back to stated income, stated asset loans 100%. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about common sense underwriting. I'm talking about get rid of the gridlock. Why are people so scared to make a loan to a self-employed person? My gosh, it's unbelievable the crap these people have to go with. Make lending easy again. Let's go, right? Not easy in the sense because you have no money and give everybody a loan. No, the guy that's self-employed, that has a good credit, that has money in the bank, that has a low LTV, that maybe has a little bit of funky income. Let's help them out. What about the person that's W-2, that's been living with family members here in California that maybe can't go on a loan because of bad credit, but they have money. They're paying rent. And you know what? It's like, Kenny, we're going to go buy a 4-bedroom house and I'm going to have 3 other people live with me, but I can't include that rent. I can't include that income. This is baloney, but I could buy a house. They want to be partners. Why not incentivize? Why not help those people out? If they can get somebody to rent a room here in California, it's $750 a room, and that's another, 3 units, and it's a couple $1,000s. Why can't we use that? So we need to think common sense when it comes to housing affordability and that stuff. And I hope we get these roundtables. I hope Trump realizes outside of just making it easier, this and that, we need to incentivize and make common sense underwriting a level. Maybe Fannie Freddie doesn't want to do it, but let this private sector do it. Don't ever over-regulate them. Don't over-criticize them. Don't over-penalize them. It has to make sense, though. I agree with people. We don't want to do bad loans, but guys, there's people out there that are renting, that are living in houses and stuff they can go buy, but they can't afford it because these 3 other people won't go on the mortgage or they can't qualify for different reasons. So let's get back to common sense underwriting. Number 5 is regulation. I went over it. So we gotta kill the regulation. So we can't overregulate the banks. That means the banks are overregulated. If you overregulate the banks, they will not lend. Jamie Dimon, who is not a Trump fan, even has said this over and over. Stop getting in my business. Just like Prop 33 did for California. Thank you for saying no. Do not overregulate rent control. Don't overregulate banks. If you do, they won't lend. They'll sit on the money that kills lending for small businesses, the big thing for commercial, residential, it just kills the market and they don't want to lend, and businesses need money to thrive. They need money to hire, to grow, to expand, all that stuff. You guys know that. Imagine if you didn't have a credit card or you couldn't use debt to buy a car or house, you would just be like, cool, I can't do anything. 80% of things that get done in this economy are done so by credit. Credit is great if you use it wisely. Credit is terrible if you don't use it wisely. So we need to deregulate it. Regulation on obviously building and starting businesses and things like that. Get rid of the red tape. Why do things take here in California 5 years to build a house? It should take 2 years. Come on. This over-regulating, over-red tape. I get it. We got to protect the animals, the ocean, our kids, all that. I get it, but it shouldn't take this long. It doesn't take 5 years to build a house, folks. The problem is there's just too much red tape, too much BS, and we need to get rid of it at all levels across the nation if we're going to get stuff built and businesses built and things like that. If not, we're going to sit here and just like a dog chasing its tail. Tax cuts. Yes, tax cuts. If you tax cut people that incentivize people that start businesses, tax cuts for people that are going to build properties, maybe add ADUs, maybe fix up housing, right? Tax incentives for people that are going to hire, that are going to manufacture here in the US. Great. Tax cuts help businesses expand, help businesses hire, help things explode. And I get it. Is it good or bad? I'm not a tax cut guy. I'm not an economy guy, but I can tell you, if you cut taxes and incentivize businesses, hiring, building of real estate, doing things of that nature, you will get a lot of growth. That's what we need in the United States right now. You know it and I know it. Tariffs. I can tell you that if Trump is dangling the tariff card, look, he put in tariffs. They were kept by this administration and now the Biden administration. Like him or don't like him, who cares? They kept tariffs because it works. Is Trump using this as more of a negotiation tool? I'm sure he is. That's what he does. He negotiates, but tariffs, fine. We shouldn't be basically getting screwed while we're just letting anybody. So if we can tariff and negotiate, maybe we can bring the cost of goods that come in here down. Maybe they are not going to whack us hundreds of percents. I don't know if tariffs are good or bad. They could be worse. Like if tariffs go and it's a negotiation and countries aren't doing it and Trump puts the tariffs on, yes, it could hurt us in the short run, help us in the long run. It can make the cost of materials or building a house or things like that more expensive. So I'm not saying it's necessarily all good or bad. I don't know because we don't know exactly what they're going to do, but they could be a bad or good thing. But at the end of the day, if we're using it for negotiation and people know that, hey, we'll tariff you to death if you don't work with us, maybe that could help us. The last one on the list, 8, is for crying out loud, folks, whether it's at your household, whether it's in the business, because we've been doing it, but we're not doing it at the federal level, we're not doing it at the state level, we're not doing it at the city levels, is we need to cut the damn spending. I don't care if you're Republican, you're independent, I don't care if you're Democrat, I don't care who you are, what you are, we've all been having to cut back because you feel it in the economy. We need to cut spending. We cannot fund everything and everybody, okay? We need to cut spending. We need to cut it now. Does the government need to employ 25 million people? I don't know, but it seems overkill. But all I can tell you is we are spending money we don't have. Our kids are going to get screwed. Yes, they will. Everybody knows this that's watches. The one thing that we all can agree upon is that we want to get inflation down. We want to stop wars, and we definitely need to get mortgage rates down. But the last thing is we need to cut spending, because if we don't, we are going to hit a brick wall in the future. I promise you we will. You cannot keep up the entitlement. We are not going to be able to afford the interest, the Social Security, the Medicare, all that stuff. We will not be able to, the entitlement programs, we will not be able to do it. So we're going to have to cut spending, whether that's waste. Trust me. How do we cut spending? I think it's to be easy. Do we really need that many people in the government? I don't know. Number 2, do you think we negotiate the best deals? Do you think when the government spends money, whether they buy paper, they buy toilet paper, they're buying planes, they're buying cars, they're buying computers, they buy anything, they do anything. Do you think they're negotiating all this? I don't think so, folks. I think we could do a much better job as a country negotiating. I think we could cut costs we're just wasting money and throwing money instead of before we spend money, there needs to be a policy and procedure. Because apparently what I hear in the government, and this isn't what I hear, this is from people that actually work in the government and in the military, the waste is disgusting. So we need to cut the waste, cut the spending. Can we cut overhead? I'm sure we can. Can we cut a $2-3 trillion? I sure hope we can, because we have to start paying down the deficit. We got to start saving money. So that's one of the big things, is cutting locally everywhere, because everybody right now is doing it. In businesses and personal life, we're all cutting. We need to cut the government. We need to cut the spending, and we need to cut it fast. So here's some things I can think we can do to wrap up this video to help with local, state, and federal housing. So let me give you my little list here. Some of it you might have heard of, some I haven't talked about, but this is kind of a wish list, a hit list, and things I think they can work on. And here we go. So I think you need to incentivize. If somebody is sitting on a house right now and they're not selling, whether it's tax reasons, they don't want to deal with it, or they don't want to rent it, I think you need to look at all the vacant houses in the US, and I think there needs to be some type of incentive program to sell it, to rent it, or something, or fix it up. And so I think we need to figure out what that number is. I think we need to incentivize the American people to rent it out, to sell it, because there's vacancies all over the place right now. I've already mentioned it, millions and millions, and we're not taking advantage. So instead of building houses, that's expensive to go build 3-4 million houses, it costs $10 billion. Why don't we incentivize the people that have the housing, whether you fix it up, rent it, or sell it? I think you go incentivize those people right away to make sure they give it to the right person. You're renting to the right person. You're selling to the first-time home buyer. If you don't want to fix it up, incentivize them to sell to maybe somebody that does fix and flips. They basically fix it up and they go sell it to a first-time home buyer. Let's do that as number one. Number two, just like they're doing in California, but do more of it, incentivize ADUs. Ease the red tape, make it faster. Also, the big reason why people are not adding ADUs, if you're listening California, if you're listening local, if you're listening federal, because you need more ADUs, that's accessory dwelling units. That's putting, converting your garage, building, is the capital to do it, the mortgage to do it. The money to do that is really hard to get. So somebody has a low interest rate first and they don't have enough equity right now to build, but once they build, there's equity. It's hard to get that money. So I think there should be federal, local, here in California, they should have money they can give to incentivize people to build the ADUs. And maybe they're going to say, hey, we'll only give this money if you build an ADU and you're willing to rent it out to affordable housing or something like that. But people will do it. So incentivize to build. I don't know what it is. Maybe you give them a better rate to build and rent out to affordable housing. Maybe you give them a higher rate if they're going to build out and do market rate. Whatever you do, you got to incentivize people to do stuff, but they also need the money to do it. So I'd heavily lean on that. I think the other thing we need to do is work on, like I said, getting rates down. I think the government over hiring, overspending is killing us. So we need to get that down for sure. And that's going to just be by cutting costs, because the reason why rates have went up already is because of the data. Everybody's like, the economy is doing so great. But when I talk to small businesses and people, I don't know what the hell, they're like, what are we talking about? The economy is not doing good. So I don't know what people are talking about, these numbers, but if you took the government spending out and you took the government hiring out, would the economy doing that great? I don't think so. So I think in order to get mortgage rates down and get this inflation spending down, we need to cut the cost to help that out. The last thing I want to say is just in general is about mortgages. Look, I deal with a lot of different people every day. I don't deal with a straightforward cookie cutter client. I deal with somebody that went W-2 self-employed. I went to somebody that is like, hey, Kenny, I'm on the brink of qualifying, but I can't. Maybe it's not just rates, but it's like, hey, I'm the person in my family that's working. Other people in my family are self-employed, or they don't have good credit, or they can't qualify, but they're giving me money every month. And we live in a 4-bedroom house right now. We're renting and they give me money, but why can't we use their income? Why can't we use them saying they're going to help me out? So we need to come up with programs where people buy homes and they're other people and renting it out in their house. It's called a house hack. And guys, I know if you live in Texas or Oklahoma or things like that where housing's cheap, you're like, what the hell? Who does that? But here in California, people do house hack and people have to rent out rooms and it works really well. But we need to help those people get in. The self-employed people, I need to encourage that, hey, we can make exceptions. We can get exceptions to help them get into housing just because they went and changing jobs or just started a business or how they file income or it's a little bit differently. Like, we need to help those people get into housing. So really what I'm saying is, and last but not least, is we need to make sure that the secondary market is healthy for lending, not just Fannie, Freddie, FHA, VA. The secondary market should be able to step up, should be able to come in more, and should have the backing and support of the federal government with regulation. I'm not for 100% stated income, stated asset. No, I'm for people that are actually making the money, that have good credit, that have shown history that they can afford a home, that we can make an exception to get them in housing. So I think we just need to come up with more creative ways that we look at income. And it's not just if you're W-2 or you show it on your taxes, that's the only way you buy a house. I think it's a bunch of hogwash. There's a lot of good people out there that can't refi and buy because they're just not the typical buyer. But anyways, folks, thanks for watching. Good or bad for you, whether you're excited Trump win or not. Look, there's a lot of things that are going to change here. There's a lot of things that need to change here. So we voted them in. We voted the Senate and the Congress to change. So let's hold them accountable. Well, for all the stuff they told us they're going to do, well, damn it, go out there, and I hope they do it. I hope they crush it. I hope we really see some significant changes. I hope for real estate, we can see a turnaround so people that are suffering, that are in the real estate business where their business is way down, they can start getting some blood life back into it. For the first time home buyers, for the renters, for the people that feel like they can't afford anything. I get it. For the people that need to refinance, we need some love. We need to take action, but what we also need is the government to back out on regulation, to back out on spending money and hiring so we can let the free market do what it is. And we need to get those interest rates down, and we need to get the way out of builders, and we need to incentivize people to sell, to rent, and to build and create more housing here in this market. So anyways, thanks for watching. If I can help you, let me know. Share this video with somebody else. And thanks for watching. Thanks for your support. We'll talk soon. Love you guys.